most important strategic initiatives at the University of South Florida is to build new and lasting partnerships with the business community in Tampa Bay. Two recent examples: a new MBA program that features a partnership with the Tampa Bay Lightning and an expanded research alliance with Nielsen. So joining us today, great panel to talk about these USF partnerships, Dr. Moez Limayen, Dean of the College of Business, who's been on the job for what, 1 month, sir?
1 month, 3 weeks, and 2 days.
Welcome to Tampa Bay. Next to him is Steve Griggs, Chief Operating Officer for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we'll be talking about your exciting MBA partnership there. Dr. Michael Mondello is here, Associate Professor at USF, teaches sports and finance, and also Chris Gera, who is Vice President at Nielsen. Welcome, all of you. Welcome today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
You know, this is, we just had your president, Dr. Judy Ginshaft, on a little while ago, and from the very beginning, she had said, I want to make this a research institution, and I want to reach out to the business community and have these partnerships. And that's certainly what we're talking about today. Steve, I want you to tell me about this Lightning Alliance you have with USF. Who came up with the idea?
Well, I think it started really with Jeff Vinnick, our owner, and Todd Lewicki, our CEO, and getting together with Judy and Doug. And, you know, it started as a conversation that said, how do we build the best? And we want to be best in brands, we want to be best in community, and it was the ability to, you know, there is a lot of sports management programs out there, there's a lot of MBA programs out there, but how do you create something that really is going to be beneficial to students who come to USF with a residency program? And I think that's the program where people are going to, you know, get additional experience by working right there at the Lightning.
So how do the two programs work together, Michael?
Well, we're excited about this. The way that we just admitted our first class of 23 students, and they'll go to class 2 days a week, and then they'll have internships or residencies for 3 days a week. The Lightning, as our title sponsor, and the generosity of Mr. Vinnick, have provided 16 residencies that our students will go through.
Wow.
And then we've also built alliances with other sport organizations around the Tampa Bay community.
And was it partly because sports are so huge in this area? I mean, there are some great sports teams here. Lightning, of course.
Well, I think it's not just the teams that are around here. They're going to get their, you know, the incubator here and learn what sports is all about here. But I think what will happen is a lot of these graduates will go off and work around North America and even the world is. And I think this program here, you know, these people are going to get their feet wet day in and day out. They're going to be working 3 days a week at our arena and working with the team and working with our executives. And so they're going to get that institutional knowledge that's going to give them a leg up when they go to work for other teams throughout North America.
Because Michael, I mean, I'm sure a lot of these young people come in thinking, I'm going to get to work around athletes and this is going to be exciting. But there's a huge business component to this that they have to learn.
It is, and I think one of the things most of our students, I think, realize now after some initial conversations and doing some research, they understand that we're about the business of sport. We're not about attending games as fans. We're there to make sure the consumers of sport have a good time. Understanding the business side, including like analytics and data analysis, and you know, how can Steve and his company be more effective in terms of ticket pricing, venue operations. We're there more for the big picture, not so much the games on the field, but making sure everything off the field runs efficiently.
Okay, Chris, let's talk about Nielsen a little bit. Having spent many years in the television industry, I'm certainly familiar with your big reputation as a ratings giant, you know, measuring ratings, but now Nielsen has expanded to what?
Well, you know, Nielsen is all about really trying to help the folks in the industry, whether it be television, whether it be consumer products, figure out what does the population want to buy and what do they want to watch. And that's a big job, because when you think about the fact that we do business in about 110 countries globally, you look at the North American market, right, the market that we operate in, it's a very mature market. There's lots of technology, there's lots of venue, there's lots of ways to get your message out. It's a very different approach when you're in Africa or China or Japan, some of these emerging marketplaces with different technology. So we're looking for ways in partnering with USF to include new ways of using the data that we're collecting on what people do watch and what people do buy to draw insights and help serve the marketplaces that we're operating in.
So how does the alliance with USF work? Are you looking for interns, or are you working with their research department on your data gathering?
You know, it's very broad. And I'm going to actually ask Dr. Limayen to comment for just a minute. But I will say that we have two key approaches. One having to do with students, right? Students coming out of the university, that's a product. That's a product that we as a business trying to serve our clients are looking to make sure that we can find the best and the brightest and the most developed students that can come in and make a difference for our clients and continue the legacy of Nielsen as we serve the marketplace. That's a component that I'm involved in with at USF as well. But most importantly, the data aspect of what we're doing. Nielsen is a big data company. I mean, we have data on what people watch and what people buy that goes back decades. The idea of having that data is not to look backwards, it's to be able to take that data and draw some conclusions and draw some insight and begin to project it forward to say, what's going to happen tomorrow? What shows are people going to watch tomorrow? What products are people going to watch and buy and choose to participate in tomorrow?
So, I mean, so this is really shaping, and I want to talk to you about social media, because I know that that's one of your big issues too, but it's finding out, like, you want to know what kind of toothpaste I use.
Absolutely.
Really?
Not only, yeah,
And
exactly.
why?
And why?
And
why is
why?
even more important? We were talking a little
You
bit
want to know
before.
why I
Yeah,
use
exactly.
my
Absolutely.
toothpaste?
It drives your
That's one-
decision.
yeah, not
I'm not going
another
to tell you.
toothpaste.
I'm not going to tell.
We
No,
will
no,
know.
You already probably know,
Yes,
don't you?
probably.
That's scary.
But we can look at past behavior, right, of folks who live in the area where you live, that earn the income that you earn, that have the kind of family life that you have, right? There's certain demographics that go with people that buy product and how they choose to get their information, whether it be from news, information on sport, information on the internet, whether it's mobile, whether it's wired, whether it's through print, right? All of those ways are ways that you get information about product and it helps form your decision. We need smart folks like the folks at USF to help us decide, now that we have all that information on what you've done, how is it going to predict what you're going to do next?
So what does USF, Dr. Limayen, how does it benefit from this alliance with Nielsen?
Great question. I really see this alliance, both alliances.
And with the Lightning?
Yes, exactly, as really a three-way win. People talk about win-win. We would like to talk about it as win-win-win. The first win, of course, goes to the company, for example, in this case, Nielsen, where hopefully they will have the best possible graduates. We really, our vision is to have the best for them. Second, we will help them tackle business problems, research problems that we are very well qualified to address and to tackle, so that they can do their business better and they can respond to their customers better. So that's for Nielsen. I think the second win goes for the students. Imagine our students at USF having their hands dirty with petaflops of data. We're now beyond the terabytes with that.
Now, what was that word?
Petaflops, which is if yeah, this
More
is
data than you can imagine.
just to give you an idea.
How big is that?
Yeah, if you take from the time thousands of years ago where we invented writing and you try to digitize it, that will be 50 petaflops.
Yeah.
Nielsen had about 15 petaflops.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yes.
Really?
Yes.
I've learned a new word.
Yes,
Thank you.
And not only that, these 15 petaflops are now available for our students to get their hands dirty with, to play with it, to look for relationships, to explain consumers' behavior. So our students, hopefully, when they will graduate, they can hit the ground really running, better than any other program, hopefully. Also, Nielsen and Lightning provides internship and residency possibilities for our students. So that's great. It's all in the mantra of bringing real life learning to the classroom. This is a perfect example. And the last win is for USF and for the faculty, where now they can tackle interesting and relevant research questions with very relevant and extraordinary partners. So you see, everybody wins. Everybody wins, and that's why we like it.
So what are you seeing the class coming in, Michael, of all these new folks who want to be in the business of of sports management. Are they former like high school and college athletes who want to stay in the business of, I mean, sports is now also entertainment, huge entertainment. So what
It
are you
is,
seeing?
and I would say a large majority of our students, and we've got a great diverse range of students coming from, I think we have 18 states represented. We have a few of USF's alumni. Many of them were fans of sport like we all were at one time, but I think many of them now have kind of shifted away from being a fan to being more about understanding the business side of sport. And so what I think is really special about the program that we have is the students will go through foundational courses first. Right now they've gone through 2 days of boot camp, and they'll take courses in management, finance, accounting, human resource management, really to kind of get their grounded theory first, and then they'll come and get the sports side of it in the spring with Dr. Sutton and I. So they bring a wide, diverse background. Some have worked, we have 2 people that worked for Madison Square Garden. One person worked for up at the Phillips Arena in Atlanta. Others have worked in college athletic programs. So it's really all across the spectrum. But we're excited about the diversity because I think that'll enhance our classroom learning environment as well.
And Steve, how does that feed into a goal of the Lightning in terms of what they're producing?
The key is we're getting really experienced people. So not only are they coming from MSG or Phillips, they're coming from Goldman Sachs, they're coming from agencies, and they come with a lot of experience, and they're coming back to do their MBA. So they come into our environment, they have already got experience. And so we try to put them in the right functions within our organization that help us in growing our projects, i.e. our real estate development, or we do a lot of analytics now. We do a ton of research. When I first started, it was just, could you sell tickets? And that's what we did. But now the business of sports is so analytical and so data-driven to help us drive our business, whether it's variable pricing or dynamic pricing. All these things come into play, and USF and their students are going to come in and help us push that business even further.
I mean, and you think about a sports team, you think that it's being run by some ex-jocks, and we're talking about MBAs, and we're talking about brilliant guys and Wall Street guys coming in to help what the public sees as a huge entertainment piece, but for you, there's a huge business behind it. And
well, I'm just
Mr.
hoping
Vinnick has really elevated that.
I'm just hoping when all these smart guys come in that they're going to keep me on as a consultant later.
Your sport's racquetball, isn't it?
It is. I do enjoy playing. So the Tampa community is nice. It's got a lot of players, and look forward to doing some more of that while I'm here.
Okay, so why does he buy the racquetball racket that he buys?
I wish I could answer that question. I don't know enough about Mike, having just met him today, but we could figure it out with enough time, without a doubt. Let me just add, as I hear Steve and Michael talk about the relationship and the partnership that they've got at the Lightning, it was only probably about 2.5, 3 years ago where Nielsen on the USF campus was really an unknown quantity. So I'm excited to see what they're starting and knowing where we've been in the last 2.5 years and seeing how that partnership has really not only developed but flourished, because there is a two-way. There's a back and forth, as Dr. Limayen said. There's a win for the university, there's a win for the community, and there's certainly a win for the business. But so much of it is based upon the cultural aspect of what does USF do in terms of creating its students as lifelong learners, which we value at our organization, right? Because you can never know enough. And then how do you take it and apply it into the business world so that you can add value? And it really, I'm excited about what they're doing over here at the Lightning because it's going to add value. As a fan, right? As a fan, I'm excited to see what the next big thing is. And I hear that there is a big thing potentially coming in lines of the Dallas arena that's coming up. So I'm not going to spoil. No, I'm not going to spoil that.
It's old news, but it's we're putting in the mother of all scoreboards into the Tampa Bay Times Forum.
Really?
So
and when will that be happening?
As soon as the folks from the RNC step out of the building.
How big is this thing going to be?
It's about 30 feet high and 50 feet wide. So. All in HD, so you'll need makeup just like we have on now to watch the game, in case you get on the scoreboard.
I've been in your arena, and I don't know how you could get anything bigger in there because everything in there is gigantic.
Well, it just speaks to our ownership and Jeff Vinnick, and one of the most benevolent owners you're going to want to have in your community, and just the partnership that we now have with USF just speaks to the kind of person that Jeff wants to be, or kind of owner he wants to be. giving back to the community, being tied to the community. He's moving his entire business here this month. So, you know, he's a huge part of this community, and we're blessed to have him.
Dr. Limayen, I want to ask you a bit, and also Chris with Nielsen, how social media plays a role in the marketing research you do. We're hearing a lot about people having their preferences on Facebook and Twitter and things like that, and you're actually, I mean, explain how that is, I know this is your field, you love it.
You got me excited here. I think we'll be naive if we ignore social media now. I think especially with the new generation, they write less and they talk on the phone less, but they use more of the social media. But what is really interesting is that we still, to date, don't have a very good understanding of how social media is affecting consumer behavior. We have some anecdotal evidence, and some companies are investing millions of dollars hoping that this will encourage people to come buy their products or services or stick with their products and services. But the truth is, even after a few years now, we don't have a very good grasp of that phenomenon, and it keeps changing. This is where the partnership makes perfect sense, where Nielsen will give us real data, live data, and we bring our know-how on how to tackle these very interesting and relevant research questions to finally answer the $1 million question is, how is this really affecting consumers and consumers' behavior and attitudes?
Because people with a new product or service are now finding that they have to push it out on social media in terms of targeting the specific niche consumer that they are going for instead of a broadband approach. So you're saying that you're not sure yet exactly how impactful that is?
Absolutely, and let me tell you, you know, anybody who have taken any marketing classes will tell you the marketing theory tells you that if you have an unhappy customers, she will drive away 10 customers. If you have a happy customer, he or she will bring 3, on average 3. This is absolutely wrong now. With social media, we're talking about millions, thousands of people that you can very quickly on your, all your friends and these friends on your Facebook have other friends. And now on your Twitters, you can forecast it to the world. So it is just a very interesting phenomenon, and we still don't understand a lot of the answer to a lot of these questions.
Well, I know one thing we do know is that if you have a bad experience with a restaurant or a hotel and you put it on TripAdvisor, then the organization has to respond by saying, "Oh, well, you know, we're, blah, blah, you know," because people are reading this, and that's how they're getting their information now.
And companies now are having an army of employees. That's all what they do almost 24 hours a day. They scan the web and the social media and try to answer the complaints, the questions, and that's what they do. So it's a very interesting phenomenon.
You know, you bring such a global perspective to USF. You were born in Tunisia, and you were there during some of the protest movements and became kind of a voice for how this information technology was influencing what was going on politically there.
Oh, it's an amazing. I thought I was going there for a keynote speech, but I didn't know that my trip there to Tunisia almost 2 years ago changed my life and millions of the people of my country. We very briefly, we had a dictator who was in power for about 23 years. And he was censoring every single thing that went against his power and the power of his family. It was a truly corrupted, oppressive government. And I will have to say, thanks to social media, people tried to revolt first and share videos about the atrocity of the government, and also make some dates so they can meet. And on the 14th of January 2011, everybody wanted to meet at 10 o'clock in front of the Ministry of Interior. That's the oppression symbol of the country, and they overthrew the dictator. And I don't think, honestly, I've been doing research in this area, this would not have been possible without the power of social media.
That's incredible.
It really is incredible, and it changed. Just a few months ago, I was able to vote for the very first time in my life.
Really?
Yes. Why? Because before, I would have voted, and my vote would not have counted because our president would have been elected 99.99% anyway. So I voted for the first time in my life, and I know that my vote counted. And a lot of people ask me, so what will happen next? You know what my answer?
What?
I say, I don't know, but ask Facebook. Facebook will tell you, Facebook will tell you what will happen next.
I think it's an interesting trend, right, in social media,
is.
because it
Yeah.
connects
It's
people
fascinating.
globally. It puts information at your fingertips. And I think people are still looking to us at Nielsen to try to figure out, what do you do with all that information, right?
right.
So part of what we've been discussing with USF is, and with our clients, is we've got all this information, right? We're out on the internet, and we're actually combing the internet on a daily basis for some of our clients to make sure that we understand how they're trending. Are they trending positive, or are they trending negative? And if they're trending negative, they need to take an intervention.
Absolutely.
They need to do something about it. It's just similar to your example about the restaurant. That happens on a global scale with a lot of these brands. But we have to be able to figure out how to leverage it for the marketplace, right? You want it to do more good than bad. And I think as it continues to mature, and as countries continue to bring more and more technology to their people, we're going to find that we are on a very small planet, and we are all very much connected. But it's the power and the excitement of what's going to happen next, similar to what happened in Tunisia, that you know, is very, very interesting to us at Nielsen.
Just wild.
Yeah.
Steve, how has social media impacted the Lightning? And you can follow all this stuff and see what fans are saying about you. And
Well, when we first got here, we didn't have many friends. But you know, over the course of the last 2 years, we've put 3 to 4 people within our organization just on social media.
Really?
And have grown to 250,000 Facebook followers and about 100,000 on Twitter. So. For us, you know, we don't use it as a sales tool. We use we find out who the influencers are within social media, which is really an important piece.
Yes.
And we want to really push it as far as who our brand ambassadors are. And so as we continue to grow our brand, our social media continues to grow. And so we work with a company called Thuzy as well to really push and grow our database through different means of the social sphere, but it's a huge part, and you know, we're going away from traditional media spends and spending more of our time, and more of our energy in driving social media, because those brand ambassadors, like you said, they're going to tell their friends, and they're going to tell their friends, and that's how our brand has grown really over the last couple of years to have that strength, especially within the Gen X generation. You know, those people, those are the ones that we're really trying to attract right now.
Right. And so to wrap up, these are 2 really interesting alliances with the University of South Florida, with the Lightning, and also with Nielsen. What other ones are you looking at?
I think these are our 2 models. When I meet now business leaders from the community, and I'm doing this extensively, and they ask me questions like, how can we get involved with USF? I say, okay, look at what we're doing with the Lightning. Look at what we're doing with Nielsen. This is absolutely fantastic, and we counted the wins. So we are trying to leverage on these 2 wonderful wins to build relationships in the spirit of everybody winning. And our community here in the Tampa Bay region will win also.
Well, I was going to say, why did you feel like it was conducive to do what you do here? Why did you decide to come to Tampa Bay?
I think a lot of people ask me this question, and I think it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. And why? Because we have solid foundations in the university, as President Genshaft mentioned. We have great faculty, great staff. We are able to attract wonderful students. And in addition, we have great support from the business community, as Steve and Chris mentioned. So this is every dean's dream come true.
Well, it's
Then
good
we also lived in Canada, so it's a lot better.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you, much better.
All right, Dr. Limayen, Dr. Michael Mondello, Steve Griggs from the Lightning, and Chris Gera. Thank you all very much. Fascinating conversation. I'm very glad you got to vote, sir, and welcome to Tampa Bay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Right after this, we'll be back with Frank, who's with Alan Marshall of the Florida Aquarium, the same aquarium where our own Jeff Chase went swimming with the sharks recently. So we'll hear all about that back in a moment.